The Hunting Party could have easily been the next Mindhunter. Ever since Netflix unceremoniously dumped its crime thriller, honestly, why? The show is the best they have. People have been desperate to sink their teeth into another serial killer thriller. Apple TV Plus certainly tried their hands at this with Blackbird, a hard-hitting but sadly underrated series, given it's on a streaming platform few people have, and was largely overshadowed by more prolific efforts like Dharma. Network TV in general tends to lag behind the high production value boasted by their streaming counterparts, relying instead on tighter scripts and a more procedural feel to keep people around for longer. The Hunting Party is certainly not a bad show, but it's not a particularly original one either. The series was also crucified by critics who wrote full season reviews after watching between 1 to 4 of the 10 episodes, which didn't help the reception, and its undeniable similarities to Alcatraz the series are really hard to shake off. However, underneath all of that noise is a solid premise that feels like a diamond in the rough, and honestly, one I'd love to see come back for a second season to try and tighten up its core premise, because there's certainly something here. The series itself centers on a small team of investigators, led by FBI agent Rebecca Henderson. These guys are set up as an immediate task force to bring back dangerous serial killers who have escaped from a super duper top secret facility underground called the Pit. Now, nobody is supposed to know this place exists, as it's not catalogued on any maps, and Bex immediately finds herself hitting the ground running to catch up. Along with dealing with this big government conspiracy, she's joined by agents Jacob Hassani and Shane Florence as they set out to try and capture these bad guys and put them back in custody, or in a body bag with a bullet in their head, whatever seems more appropriate in the moment. Helming this whole operation though is Bex's old flame, Oliver Adele. The pair have history stemming from some trauma binding them together and tearing them apart, which sets up a suitable amount of awkward friction in the workplace. Along with figuring out how and why the Pit was blown up and who could potentially be pulling the strings, the show follows a familiar serial killer of the week format. It's a pretty simple concept and it works surprisingly well. The series balances this longer storyline nicely with episodic mysteries and/or chases, usually culminating in a big standoff or showdown. A couple of episodes here do rehash the same solution, which is disappointing, coming from being knocked out with a gun to the back of the head while a distraction is being served, which is a bit disappointing really for a 10-episode series. Now, 24 episodes, yeah, we'd kind of expect a bit of crossover like this, but for a streamlined 10-episode series, really? It just feels a bit lazy on the creative front. The mix of serial killers does help to freshen things up though, especially with the way the cases become increasingly more dangerous and more unhinged as the show goes on. Everything from kleptomaniacs to a case reminiscent of Seven are featured, alongside some of the more conventional killers you'd expect to see in a show like this. The point is, The Hunting Party knows what it wants to be, and for the most part it slips comfortably into that format like a well-worn glove. Melissa Roxburgh does well to lead the team too, and her charisma certainly helps to drive the story forward. The rest of the cast aren't bad, but there's nothing here that's particularly outstanding either. The same can be said for the sets, production design, and general flow of the episodes, which are all competent and well worked, without ever pushing the boat out and delivering something truly awe-inspiring. There's nothing wrong with that of course, but compared to some of the episodes in say Prodigal Son for example, it's definitely noticeable that there's not really any cases that stand out, and therein lies the biggest problem with The Hunting Party. It's definitely not a bad show, and I certainly had a ton of fun watching this one, or well, I guess as much fun as you can have watching investigators track down and stop serial killers. The cast are tight knit, we do get some answers toward the end, along with more questions for a possible season 2, and plenty of interpersonal drama along the way. So really, The Hunting Party is not a bad series, but is not bad really good enough in a saturated market of TV shows releasing all the time? Like I said before, I really hope this one gets the nod for a second season. At the time it hasn't been confirmed, because otherwise this is going to end up as another disappointing misfire. But even so, this one's still definitely worth giving a shot because it does get better over time. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.